Excellent. Well, welcome to the first session of 3 of After the War on Gauntlet Hangouts. My name is Jason Pitt, Justice of Legend Publishing, and I'm the designer/publisher of the thing. And I will be running the game today. Pronouns he, him. Next, Ryan.
I'm Ryan, obviously, and I also use he, him pronouns.
Lauren.
Yep, I'm Lauren. I use she, her pronouns. I am the Gauntlet editor for Codex or whatever, right? Oh my god, it's been such a long, weird day. I'm Lauren. I use she, her pronouns. That is me. I'm going to stop talking now.
Larry.
Yeah, I'm Larry. I use he, him pronouns. Player on the Gauntlet, occasional GM, or facilitator of GM-less games, actually. I never GM.
And hi, I'm Dave. I have no preference for pronouns, and I run weird games. I'm just going to say that.
I am a big fan of weird games. So, to get this thing started, so in the beginning, this is a mimetic science fiction horror game. That is to say, this takes place 10 years after a galactic war pretty much destroyed the Federation. And welcome, Christo!
Hey. I didn't think I made it into the list.
You made it onto the list.
Okay.
Fantastic. So, just introducing the game, which is to say that I need to flip you an email. So, effectively, we went into space, met aliens, and joined the Galactic Union. It was fantastic and wonderful and utopian. Unfortunately, we also wound up meeting something unpleasant in the deep, dark depths of space, known as the Song. The Song is a alien mimetic virus that effectively converted people into this horrible hive mind of creepy space cultists. And it indoctrinated people into joining the choir. And this mimetic virus would be propagated through sound. So this wound up going from a station to multiple stations to a good portion of the Union fleet, which was rechristened as the Chorister Fleet and spread from star system to star system. Set up with effectively a mobile transmitter array that would broadcast the song straight into nearby systems. Accordingly, we fought very hard, and it wasn't quite good enough. They went through the alien systems of the Riscado, the Permancer, the Alluvia, the most advanced of the alien species, non-corporeal energy beings, who the author, Alistair Stewart, gleefully describes as sparkle wankers, who take pity on us for our flesh suits. They had a warship made of starlight that they sent out against the Song and the Chorister Fleet, and the Song dissolved it. So functionally, the Chorister Fleet was unstoppable. It went through, and we held it off at the Oort line, but it made through our defenses. We evacuated the belt. We evacuated Mars, and we evacuated Earth, at least as much as we could. But it wasn't enough. So they made it to Earth, and the millions of survivors on a flotilla called the Exodus Fleet left Earth and the solar system to get anywhere away from the song. And there was a long, prolonged chase period between the alien song and the Chorister Fleet and the refugee flotilla. We only turned the war around because we decided to fight fire with fire and engineered a perfect mimetic counter virus that would completely negate the song. Whereas the song turned people into creepily organized, submissive slaves with fanatical devotion and this eerie calm. Tormenta would turn people into passionate, rebellious, and dominant individuals. So functionally, it turned a good third of the people infected into Reavers from Firefly. So that's how we won the war. We broadcast this Tormenta virus through the Chorister Fleet, devastated it, broke the song's hold, and caused untold death. This battle and the final release of Tormenta occurred above this frontier world of Polvo, also known as Dirt, which is the world that some humans had managed to buy off the aliens for the refugee flotilla. The ships plunged into the planet in many cases, and the planet is just covered with debris of fallen starships in the style of Jakku. And that is where the refugees tried to land. Most of them succeeded. Tried to build their new homes. Most of them succeeded. And are trying to live their lives even now. So play starts 10 years after the war has ended. Are there any questions? And I will send the relevant documents to Christo because he was not included in the previous. All right. So
I actually had a question about. I actually don't really understand what the word mimetic means. And also, what is? Do we know what the song sounded like? Like, is there a description of what that? Was it like synthwave or?
It's described as functionally, it's resonances built into normal human song. So any kind of song is dangerous and is a threat in the culture. Mimetic means that it is an infectious idea. Functionally.
Infectious idea. Okay.
So treat it like a virus, but it's a mind-controlling virus that brainwashes people. Any other questions? Oh, and full disclosure, this is a science fiction horror game. We are using the X card in this game, just to be clear, because there is some heavy subject matter. And one of the mechanics in play is in certain circumstances, the song or Tormenta can brainwash your character. As a player, you get veto. But as a character, you don't even know it's happened. So yeah. All right. So, Christo, I've sent the document to you. So let us go to character creation. So you'll note that I sent all of you a document which it says character creation in the title. Sorry, Gauntlet Hangouts reference is what I named it. So functionally, on the character, your character is made up of a handful of things. You have 2 beliefs. These are subjective, controversial declarations that you are fairly sure are true, but you're still trying to discover during play. For those who've seen SIG or Spark, it's the same thing. Yeah, big surprise. There are convictions. This is what happens when you have made a decision. You've gotten off the fence on one of your beliefs. It becomes an absolute statement that helps you mechanically whenever you're supporting it. And that's it. That is the absolute truth. It is unchanging and cannot be changed, even by mind-controlling viruses. You have insight. That is a track. You'll get points in insight throughout the game. And then you have a total of 6 talents. There's a category and an option under your origin. War story and so origin, category and option. War story, category and option. Profession, category and option. So I have drop-down menus for all of the categories. And functionally, you pick one of these categories, and then within that, you pick one of the 5 options that is associated with it. So, for instance, let's say that someone wanted to be a Martian Titan. They would select Martian as their origin category and Titan division as their origin option. The names of all of those are over in the character talents tab. You can copy paste the stuff underneath. The 1 to 2 word descriptions underneath. Those are circumstances when you would use this talent. So, for instance, a Terran from the Faithful community, because they're Terran, would get history, culture, and nature, rolling a die if that is one of the if any of those would apply for Terran. They would also roll a die for ethics, rituals, or technology or theology, with if any of those applied. So they'd roll 2 dice from their Terran Faithful combination. You can have multiple people sharing the same category, but no 2 people can share the same subcategory option. So we can only have 1 Martian from Titan Division, but we can have 1 Martian from Minerva Division if we want. So the reference document lists all of them. And let's go through it, the big categories, and then we'll let people go through and actually pick the specific details. So the 4 origins that we have available are Terran. You are from Earth, the cosmopolitan busy hub of the galaxy. Overcrowded, full of culture, full of history. Everything is there. You're from Mars. You work for Mars Core, because that's the only thing that exists in Mars Core. Everything is Mars Core. There was a war that solved this particular issue when all the other mega corporations got conquered by Mars Core. The core is mother, the core is father. You are a belter, one of the hardscrabble miners, prospectors, and possibly pirates who are hiding in the asteroid belt, who rioted and kicked all the other corporations off of the belt. They're generally hard done by and desperate for oxygen, water, food, respect. You can also be an alien. We've got a variety of different aliens. So out of those, does anyone have any preferences in terms of origins? And and using the character keeper, of course.
About the same question I had in the chat. So we can only have one alien?
We can only have one from each species.
Oh, okay. Because
the Permancer
I was
is one
wondering.
kind of alien.
Yeah,
It's
you said
it's
we can
an
only
option
have
under
one for each option. Okay, I got it.
I'm guessing Ryan was thinking of being an alien. I'm also
Well,
thinking of being an alien.
Why would I ever play human? I have to do that every day.
See, I only have to do that some days. Other days, I just get to be strange.
So we have a... Also, put your names in the character keeper as well so we can keep track of exactly who's doing what.
Is that supposed to go in the UR field?
Yeah, you're played by.
Okay.
I guess I'm kind of digging Belter and Alien as well, so I could go Belter for some more diversity.
Oh, yeah. So it's a Belter, and then there's a subcategories within Belter.
Oh.
So there's 5 different kinds of Belters.
1, 2.
Oh, Jesus.
So narrowing it down to the categories will give you less to look at. And apologies, you have the advanced pre-edited content right now. So this is subject to change.
So, Lawrence, are you going to be a Belter?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of picked it because I was like, Krista's gonna be a Belter too. We can be Belter buddies.
How'd you figure that one out? Man, you know me well.
No, it's just because we were daredevils and hack the planet, right?
Yeah, I guess that was it. I was thinking, oh, that looks fun. Daredevil, salvage, arguments. Yeah, I can do all those.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I'd be happy to be Belter buddies.
2 Belters and 3 aliens. Is that what we're looking at?
Sounds amazing.
Yeah, sounds like a lot of trouble. Ooh, and what's resistance for a Belter?
Oh, those are the Screw Mars Core group of Belters.
Ooh. So
Just saying, it's useful to have a Martian.
I was gonna say, yeah, we're gonna have a Martian. That's.
I was actually thinking about Belter as well, but for dramatic tension, I could go Martian.
I mean, Belters and aliens trying to figure out how to make this work is totally fine by me.
I'm looking at either Rasgato or Illuvia, so whether I'm going to play yet another arrogant dick or the really emo one.
Well, or I could, since I know bureaucracy so well, I could also play a Martian, couldn't I? I'm assuming the corporations are very bureaucratic.
I mean, I could also play a Martian, but I'm not gonna, so you all can fight for that.
I will say, I was looking pretty hard at Ursa. My unbearable puns are a little weak these days.
Set on bump. First shot.
So for those who haven't dug into the Ursa yet, the key thing with the Ursa is their obsession with the number 4. That's why they're the 4th on the list. And they have 4, they're the only one with 4 traits to begin with.
One of those traits is make unbearable puns.
Yep. So, quick intro to all of the aliens, since we know what the belt's like, generally. So the Permancer are pretty much Beta Ray Bill. Sort of Beta Ray Bill from Thor mixed in with why is this failing in my brain? Mass Effect Garrus.
Turian,
thank you. So they're the gruff guardians who are trying to take care of the humans. roughly horse-like, and they're the only ones who are immune to this song. They're actually immune to the song and Tormenta. We don't know why. We were grateful that they were, but it's not enough. There weren't enough permancer to stop the song, but it means that now there's at least someone who can't be a carrier and can deal with things. They're the only ones we trust. We've got the Ursa, which are the bear people who make unbearable puns. We've got the Mercurio, who are shapeshifters. We've got the Fundar. Fundar or Rascado, it's two halves of the same species, but a brutal binary virus was launched on their planet, and functionally two halves of their species, if they ever actually come into contact, it's mutually assured destruction, and both sides die from as the elements of the virus recombine. So they separate their planet in half through something called a dead wall, where they sent a line of explosions all around the planet to make sure that these two groups would never come in contact. Yeah, they're fun. We've got and the Alluvia are the only other one. The aforementioned Sparkle Wankers. So we have one Ursa. Lauren, are you going Belter?
Sure. Sounds good.
So why don't you grab that on the drop down?
Oh, perfect. I was just taking my time looking at all the...
Yeah, I was going to say, what haven't you had people play yet, if anything?
Oh, people have played pretty much everything. I had a playtest campaign with an Ursa.
By the way, I named my Ursa Berry.
Oh, God, I love it. Thank you. Thank you.
I think I might, if everyone's cool with that, I might go with the Belcher Marshall. Was anyone else considering that?
Why don't I go for a Martian then, just to be different?
One of the overpowered options that you should be aware of is to be a Terran farmer, because you know how weather and animals work. No one else does.
That's overpowered?
Yeah, so you're trying to rebuild on this frontier world full of alien life forms and imported livestock, and it's just a thing. So if you run into a suddenly wolves or suddenly blizzard situation, you better hope that there's a Terran around, and hopefully one who is working in the fields and knows how nature works. Because Belters usually not so experienced on that domain.
I mean, so you're saying farmers are important for growing communities?
Yep.
Who would have thought that?
Yeah. Yes, Lauren discovered the key thing about Belter missionaries.
Do it.
I will do it. I feel like I'm playing myself at this point, though.
Well, and now I'm tempted to try and be a Terran farmer. So I'll do it. So where do I choose farmer?
Yeah, so it's agricultural community. It's one of the few ones I actually still have all the traits in.
Agricultural community.
Actually, it looks like there is a little bit of crossover with the Martian Terraform division.
Yeah, there is. It was partially an exaggeration, but
you mean you could be a terraform? You could be a Martian terraformer, and that would be the equivalent.
Yep.
What close to? Ah. So I could be both a bureaucrat and a farmer. Huh. Yeah, I like that. I'll do that instead. That's okay. Again, how do I do it though? So I just write it in?
Yeah, just write it in. So one of the things that I'm in the process of doing, as you can see, is I've been shortening up those descriptors of how you use your talent to make them, 1 to 2 words. I still need to call people on their shit because that's just perfect for the Padre. But I'm not. I'm going to be trying to shorten it, and I haven't done that process on the stuff that is on the handout that you folks have.
Are we meant to write down like our skills or specializations under the origin option? Okay.
Yep. So you can just copy paste if it's already in the sheet.
Oh.
Yep, that's the thing. And while we do this, yeah, so, and I'll also copy in the same thing. So, you'll note that there's actually 4 spaces beneath all of these. That is because you can actually write in 1 additional sort of descriptor during play, with the exception of the Ursa, who already have it. And effectively, that would define a new thing about all members of that community. So let's say that you had a belter who wanted to use belter to clock someone in play. That's perfectly reasonable. And someone who's sitting on the sidelines in audience mode would ask questions and say, so how does belter helping you punch someone out? And then someone like perhaps Lauren would then justify and say, well, those 0G food riots that happened, when I was 12, yeah, those were rough. I won. Those were rough. And now all belters get brawling as a thing that they can do. And you've now defined a part of belter culture. You can also do that for the options in the same way. But we will do that during play.
Krista, are we going to find out that the Martian terraformers used arcane blood magic?
No.
I'm on to you.
No. And so for the war story category, each of these, we're going to have a traumatic event that happened.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so that in terms of war stories are effectively what portion of the war were you involved with and was your formative moment? Because everyone is dealing with their own trauma. So the beginning of the war was Overture. That was when we detected the song. Crescendo is when the song was kicking our ass. Tormenta was when we were fighting against the song and unleashing Tormenta upon it. And then Aftermath is the immediate recovery from that, as millions of refugees try to land on Polvo and not starve to death. So it looks like we have some folks who have indicated an interest. We have one Crescendo, one Overture, one Aftermath, one Tormenta, and another Overture. Excellent. And in the subdescriptions, you'll see sort of little snippets of the various events within it, within that period of time. Excellent. So we have one person who is involved in the Starlift. So that was where they were doing the mass evacuation of Earth and Mars and the Belt. We have someone who is in Tormenta's grave, the Martian from the Terraform division who is likely dropping the terraforming bomb on Tormenta Prime to keep it sealed away.
Yep.
We have Overture Feynman's Sentinels, which were the original folks who discovered the song on Feynman's station. Remind me, which of those two is the one that got taken over by the song? One of them got taken over by the song, and one of them didn't. Either way, it was traumatic and terrible. Feynman's, you didn't hear the song. Excellent. The first chorus are the ones who did hear the song. They got better. Honest, you can totally trust them. All right. And then for Lauren, you know what you're going for? Bastion's Children. Some of the folks who were saved by Bastion just before the war. Survivor of the FSS Endeavour, which was sent to investigate Feynman Station. And the stolen plans. So they sent an Ursa to recover the plans for Tormenta? That is amazing.
I was thinking that I might have been one of the scientists.
Oh, yeah. Oh, totally. That would make sense.
Because I could see a team of Ursa scientists.
Oh,
and,
they're really
the heartache of only one gets rescued.
Yeah, that actually happens fairly frequently. So in the setting, there is a something, the Trinity of Ursa. They lost one of their four, so the three of them refused to allow a fourth in. And one of my playtesters was another sole survivor. All right. That is some nice variety. Excellent. And then lastly, we have the professions, which are what are you doing now on Palvo? Are you a builder, a veteran, a leader, or a scholar?
Jason, is there under Terraform division? Are there other skills or something like that? Or the only one I saw was related to the ecology, understanding the ecology and weather and stuff like that.
Yeah, that is something that is currently in flux, and we can adjust it to fit your particular concept in this case.
Okay, so
Sound good?
Sure. And to continue with the puns, I decided I would be a form boy.
Oh, nice. Nice. So you wish to be so you're from Terraform division. Yeah. So what do we currently have in here? Altering landscape, deal with climate, or examine ecosystems is Terraform division.
So I choose one of those?
Yep. Well, all three of those would be things that you can use Terraform division for.
So it was alter landscape?
Yep. Climate and ecosystems.
I'm trying to understand like how the different categories. It seems like it's sort of like building up like a life.
Yep.
Story or history. So I'm a belter who was a marshal. So that's like that's what I was doing sort of before before the outbreak of war, right? As peacetime.
You were probably a second or third generation marshal from the belt. Your family is marshals. You are from the marshal community.
Okay.
That was where you originally came from. Then the war, then what you're doing now.
Okay, gotcha.
So we have one engineer. Geoengineer. And as a builder, all builders get building, coordinating, and labor as their descriptors.
So the profession is who we were in
who
our
you are
lifetime,
now.
who we are now.
So where you came from, what you did in the war, who you are now. Oh, I've got updated descriptors for you, Barry.
For which category?
Scholar.
Academics, analysis, and theory. I was thinking of being a builder, but
Urson scholars are kind of great. I have no issue with that.
Question is what type of scholar?
Yep, that's fair.
Yeah, I was like, really a lot of the scholars like could be involved in creating Tormenta.
Yep.
I figure I was probably working on the mental state that we're trying to drive them into, which is, oh my god, horrible. Not feeling any guilt whatsoever about this.
I will admit, at a certain point, I can't wait until I get a xenobiologist. Just for reasons.
I mean, I'm happy to play a xenobiologist who's like, I was a pilot in the war effort, but really, I majored in chemistry, so or biology.
It's fine with whatever you want. Like, no worries.
No, I was tossing up between do I have a logical profession, or did I just go, yeah, that's the thing I did. I don't do that anymore.
I was almost there too, Ryan. Like, maybe this Ursa just wants to build buildings now.
Buildings are simpler. You build them strong, they don't collapse, unlike brains.
Well, maybe now I don't want to, be responsible for, destroying a third of the universe.
I thought that was me.
Don't worry, you all had a hand in it.
Not me. I just saved people. I don't know what you guys all did.
I feel like the veteran might be a bit of an exception to what you were saying, though, Jason. Like, it seems like veteran is more backwards looking. Is that fair to say? It's like what you were in the war still.
Well, it's that you can never escape the war.
You can never escape the war. Okay.
I think the other three tragic. Are present, like new lives, and veteran it's just the baggage that's carried over.
How old theoretically should we be, or does it matter?
The war happened 10 years ago. If you were actually doing anything significant during the war, you should be at least 30. Yeah, because I don't want any of you folks, unless you were literally Bastion's children. That would be fair, but yeah, no, we don't want 12-year-old scientists stealing Tormenta plans from Earth. That's just not a good idea.
Oh, so some aliens, maybe
that's true.
Yeah. I haven't decided on an age for Barry.
I mean, in human years.
Yeah.
So, just a question: did our Mercurio actually reveal that they were a Mercurio when they were working on the Starlift? Or were they just a pilot that they just took their face and now they're a pilot?
Maybe sometimes to some people, maybe not. I don't know. I feel like it changes depending on who's around because not everyone deserves that answer.
That's fair. That's fair. So we have a veteran. And now I'm dying to see what Lauren comes up with.
I'm of course looking for an image for my character and sort of struggling. But that's always the case.
So you've got a medic, a leader.
Well, I'm still waffling between medic, pilot, and rec runner because they're all slightly different takes on I'm still stuck doing the same stuff.
Yeah. Oh, one of the medic traits is now, I'm not sure if I've corrected it in that text, mimetic infections.
Like, tend to them or detect
Identifying
them? Or
them, tending to them.
Lauren, if you go leader, I'll go xenobiologist, and we can be terrible together. Unless you want to play a xenobiologist.
Everything is so good.
There's lots of weird ways to go.
I was looking at Prospero going, oh, do I want to be that weird person who's like, I can speak to the planet and it speaks to me and I will prophesize about all the stuff and everything and all that jazz.
I think you should.
Would you be telling the truth or not?
I think I'm telling the truth. Whether or not it remains the truth is left to be unseen, for the truth is always a subjective factor as we move forward through time and space. And sometimes backwards and forwards and sideways and up and down. Yeah, that or just like otherwise I can see this being the archetype of like someone being Baston's child and that being sort of like a basis to legitimate being like a community leader and them going, I don't want to do this job. But everyone's like, but you were one of the like few that survived, and them going, oh god, I hate life. Like Bones, but a leader.
Can someone remind me how to put an image into the keepers as a link?
Yeah, as a link. Yeah, you can go insert image, and then you can usually just whack a URL in there, I think.
Oh, is that it? Okay.
That's what I usually do. I don't know if it's the best way, but it works.
There's also the equals image command.
I just put that in the chat.
Yeah.
Except you can't select the chat, but it's a nice short one, so I'll type it.
Is there a space to do that, to put an image?
Not yet. This is a character keeper that's currently in development.
I just made it at the top of the page.
Glorious.
Not that it's going to be very easy to find pictures of Ursas that aren't just like, I'm carrying an axe, I have glowing claws.
Or you could get a really, really hairy guy, I guess. I don't know.
I thought about that joke.
Yeah, there will be actual illustrations when I get to that point. Right now, I actually have a illustration of a Illuvia and of a Fundar, which, since I've been sharing online, I can actually share links. Oh yes, this should actually work.
I could just post a picture of a teddy bear wearing glasses.
So, how are we doing? We're good. We're good. Fantastic. So, now that we've got all of the key elements of your characters, let's just quickly go through how these work in play. Whenever you are in a conflict and you disagree on what should happen next, you are going to be rolling a number of d6s. If you are a person doing a thing, you roll 1 die. For each of the other categories or options that would apply, you roll an additional die. So, for instance, Barry, when she is being a person, rolls a die. Adds an additional die for dealing with humans. Adds an additional die when using unbearable puns as weapons against those humans. Adds an additional die when she's actually doing that to express grief. And it's actually a melancholy humor, like melancholy puns, to express grief and try to convince humans to help. So then that would be 4 dice. You roll them up, add the totals together. Fantastic. That's your amount. That seems too simple. Yeah, that's because you will accumulate something called strain as you play, and that is going to require a space on the sheet. Jason will add that. And this strain will negate certain die results. So if you have 1 point of strain, you don't add any ones to your total. That's easy. That's fine. Who cares? 2 points of strain means you aren't counting your 1s or your 2s. Well, that's a little bit less pleasant. 1s, 2s, or 3s starts to get a little sharp. You can always succeed. No matter what, you can always succeed. You can always roll 6s. It's fine. But that is effectively how damage and stress works during play. So you will be gaining the strain whenever you win a conflict, because there's always a price of victory. And you can also choose to spend it in order to reroll as many dice as you'd like during a conflict. If you're helping someone else in a conflict, you can take strain for them. That's the aid rules. So you can say, oh, I'm going to currently all my 1s are negated, and it's not enough. So I'm going to re-roll all of the, 3 of these 5 dice, and take an additional point of strain automatically. Oh, good. I rolled 2 5s. Wonderful. I have now succeeded at this conflict. Now let's just not look at the pending strain and apocalypse going on over there. So if you ever reach 6 strain, then you need to decide if it is your character who's going to be retired, or if it's going to be an NPC they have a relationship with. So relationships with NPCs in the setting are functionally dramatic ablative armor. So you really need to be building these relationships because they're your extra lives functionally. Nice. All right. So we've talked about how you gain, how you roll dice in conflicts and how you gain strain. How do you recover strain, you might ask? A hypothetical person would look at the insight track, and on the drop down, you see that it's a track from 0 to 9. When you get 3 points of insight, you will trigger a moment of discovery, which is a one-on-one scene between 2 people. It's a quiet, sort of introspective thing where the person who reaches that level asks someone else a question. And then both of you remove 1 strain. So you do that twice, and then the third time, rather than doing that, is a moment of growth where you transform one of your beliefs into convictions. Convictions just give you an extra die whenever you're supporting them, period. Whereas beliefs are the things that are giving you insight on this track. So they're both good in different ways. So, speaking of beliefs, we should make those. So each of you is going to have to make 2 beliefs. These are subjective, controversial declarations. For those who have played my previous games, you know exactly how this works. So might makes right, family is a chain, that kind of thing. Greed is good.
So the beliefs can be any sort of thing, right?
Yep. And if you can make it short and pithy, that would be even better. As a good example, one of the pre-gens is a Martian Marine who has a belief that Earth needed to burn. She had her reasons.
Is music banned?
It's taboo. Music is equivalent to drugs in contemporary society. And probably nasty drugs while we're at it.
So jazz clubs are something else.
Yep.
Awesome.
So a speakeasy is a bar that you go to where you secretly in the back room are playing music.
So this is like post-apocalyptic Footloose.
Yes.
Is sort of okay. Nice.
I think I need to get longer hair for my character's image then.
Also, let's see if we can sharpen some of these. Like I like the things that you're going for, Lauren, but let's see if we can make these shorter and pithier because we're going to be using them a lot. So for belief 1, it could be life is infinite or monotheism is death.
I think it's more monotheism is death. I think just like, so I was just thinking about like how the song like takes over people and sort of makes them committed to them, coming from this like belt background of like you should believe in multiple things that's healthy and you should like sort of cross-pollinate your beliefs and ideas.
Right. Closed minds corrupt.
It depends. Like, do we know that the song like takes over people's minds and stuff?
Oh yeah. Oh totally. Like
in that case,
a decent proportion of the survivors were infected by the song. And they snapped out of it due to Tormenta.
Did some people willingly go with the song, or was it all
totally?
consensual?
But it's also addictive, so it's the song is mental heroin. It's addictive. You get one taste, and then you're addicted. You're hooked. You join into the hive mind because everything makes sense. There's no fear. There's no pain. There's no separation or anxiety. Everything's just wonderful.
Oh God, it's season 3 of the 100. Not sure if, who's seen it, but
the other one is if people have been watching the new Star Trek Discovery. No? Okay. You should. It's good. anyways, there is a similar situation where effectively there's an alien prey species, effectively sentient prey species. They got really good at detecting danger, but they're effectively walking balls of anxiety because they're effectively a sentient rabbit. They land on this planet, and an alien life form effectively says, "Look, just stay here and you're safe." And this is the first time that this thing has felt safety in its genetic lineage. So it was effectively devoted. No, we have to stay here. I don't think you understand. Everything is good here. Wolves aren't going to eat me here. Everything is fine. I need to stay here. So, yeah. Singular minds corrupt. Yeah. Yeah, that's sharp.
It's interesting. I find like writing these beliefs so interesting because I feel like the shorter they are, like the fuzzier they are for me. Even though they're pithy.
So the reason why the shorter is better is because it leaves effectively that fuzz is good because that's narrative space you can play around with, and you're going to be justifying, does this apply in a given situation? So it's actually, as a player, you may wish to have that level of specific detail for your own personal realization, but the other folks at the table are also going to be looking at your belief, and shorter and pithier means that there's more ways for them to get in and to interface.
Yeah.
And it's the conflict between your internal image and their image, and that's where the introspection shows up.
Yeah, I totally appreciate that. It's interesting for me because I definitely feel that friction between like having strong motivation and drive and a vague concept. It's like I think that's where I feel the friction in my brain.
Right.
But I'm excited to take these for a spin. I definitely feel them.
I guess the way I thought of them is they're kind of like axioms, but ones that are so poorly written that it's easy to find times where they're terrible. Like you can't prove they're wrong, but at the same time, there are tons of situations where acting on them is terrible.
Yep. And if they conflict with each other, they're great. Just saying.
Yeah, no conflicts between my two.
Perfect. So for Larry, let's see if we can shorten these beliefs up.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. For like the first one, whether that's just sort of, I don't know what the song brings out this like spirit of, I don't know, like fanatical like what's the word I'm looking for? Conformity or but the torment is sort of, I mean, you have these like sort of like almost cosmic opposing forces. I don't know if there's like a general idea that encapsulates both of them. I don't know, maybe weakness or something. Maybe something having to do with like weakness, actually. Or maybe the song Tormento works because people are weak. It's still kind of long.
Everyone seeks belonging.
Or maybe something along the lines of bad things happen to people, or tragedy happens because people are weak. So, something along the lines of like the people who fell for the song in Tormenta did so because they themselves were flawed.
Right. maybe like the fallen were weak or the inflicted were weak. Weak of heart. Is that the afflicted?
The song finds our weaknesses.
Okay.
Or everyone is weak.
People get what they deserve.
Oh, so many choices. The songs, like maybe the song plays off our weaknesses, something like that. And for the second one, should I just? I mean, I guess I was trying to tie it in maybe a little bit too much into my my own biography, the character's biography, that is. But I mean, this one actually is someone in opposition. Like my survival or escape from the song was random. Everything is random. Like,
why don't you just like cut off the first part and just say everything is random?
Right. I guess that works.
Yeah.
Maybe something like maybe survival is random.
Survival is a lottery.
Survival is a lottery. Oh, I like that. That's pithy. All right, there's my belief system.
Yeah, that looks stable. Brilliant. So, why don't we go through each of you fine folks and introduce yourselves? Let's just go left from right on the screen because we can. So, Ryan.
Oh, I'm almost never at the left of the screen. What
Yeah,
the
well,
heck?
you're on the left of the character keeper.
Oh, okay. There we go.
So
I'm playing Sev, who uses they or whatever pronouns. I mean, who cares? And they're a Mercurio. What hell am I supposed to be introducing? We're in the Star Lift and is now a medic. And the beliefs that I put in, which I don't know, might be too vague or something, where identity is private and compassion is all we have.
that's perfect.
And I'm not described as anything at the moment because I think it changes semi-regularly.
So, have you been a medic with 1,000 faces? Or is this just the current occupation for right now, and then you'll start chopping firewood in 2 weeks?
I think I've been doing this for a while, but I don't really commit to anything. It's like, yeah, sure, I'm here. I'll probably be gone next week, except I've been here for a while and sort of Dread Pirate Roberts thing.
Right.
I keep saying I'm going to go somewhere, but I don't go anywhere.
Yep, that makes sense. All right. So, Badger.
Yeah, I'll be playing, I guess her full name is Kia Mirales Gala, but she goes by Kay if you have to, or Badger, which is a nickname she got from Commander Bastion, because she looks pretty unassuming and is generally rather like quiet, keeps to herself, a bit weird and strange and odd, but you can kind of disregard that for the most part. And then she is like insanely vicious when there are arguments going on or she needs to call people on their shit and stuff. So she definitely has a very badgery persona about her. She believes that singular minds corrupt. I think this comes from, as we sort of talked about previously, the song being like a singular kind of entity that addicts people and like brings them in. And so she kind of believes that any systems like that promote singular worship is any sort of entity are dangerous and particularly for like community. Since she also believes community is more valuable than like the individual, which is for sure a thing that she's picked up after Commander Bastion. When Commander Bastion sacrificed herself for the people on the FSS Endeavor. She is a missionary builder who is traumatized from the Overture, and now she is presently a Prospero leadery type, issuing prophecy using herb lore and speaking with Polvo, who she's got a very close relationship with and is quite fond of, I guess.
Brilliant. So you're the weird one. Got it.
I'll be channeling my best Luna Lovegood self.
Lovely.
Except
all right.
You have a vicious badger part of you, right? That's
yeah, definitely. I can't wait for you to meet that side of me. It's the side of me that no one ever really gets to meet. I hope you don't have to meet it, but it may come to that.
Okay.
All right. Next up is Kismet.
Yes. Rehan Kismet Demir. He got the nickname Kismet, although that is his middle name. That was the random name that my generator gave me, so I went with it. His beliefs are, we are our ghosts, and you get what you pay for. Figured since he was going to be a Martian, he had to have something related to money. And he's a Martian terraformer, and he was in the aftermath. He was part of Tormenta's grave, so he was part of the team that dropped the terraforming bomb on Tormenta, and that's, I think, why he's so caught up in the ghosts and the idea that we never leave those people behind.
Brilliant. And now you're working as a builder and an engineer?
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
Trying to atone, I guess.
Excellent. Barry.
Yeah, so Barry definitely is a name that she took on based on her time at Earth. Because, when she found out that she looks like an Earth bear and that there's an Earth name called Barry, she's like, that's it. That's what I'm going to go by. That's hilarious. She was part of a four psychologist pod of Ursa psychologists who, all had specialties in xeno psychology and were brought in to try to figure out what sort of mental state the song put people in. And, part of like, okay, how do we break that addiction? How do we break them out of that? And I basically, my team basically came up with the psychological profile for Tormenta, and I was the only one who was broken off of Earth in the Stolen Plans, which hurts a lot. I am currently, working as a psychologist, trying to come to terms with the fact that I used psychology as a weapon there. But I've decided I'm kind of at the point where I think Barry believes that ethics don't work in emergencies. If things are really, really bad, you can't get hung up on, what the ethical, what the standards of ethics normally say. You just have to do what will get you through the day. But she also believes that healthy minds make healthy communities. So she generally, wants to, make sure people aren't freaking out and breaking down and things like that. She's also a giant bear.
Yep. What color is her fur?
Ooh, I think she's a gray furred bear.
Okay. Does she dye her fur?
No, I think that's just one of the natural patterns for horses.
Oh, just checking, because gray with like crimson streaks. A human did it once.
Mm-hmm. She back before Earth fell, I think she like tried the punk bear look.
Good.
But hair dye is not very common on this world, and it's really just a luxury item. So she's not she's not trying to get any, she's not trying to keep that up or anything.
Fantastic. Excellent. And Shea. Shay.
I'm reading that as Shay, I think.
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
So Shay is a belter. I had that martial background, which I'm sort of interpreting as like, I think Jason, you suggested that maybe like we're like generations of martials. So maybe I kind of like followed my dad, who was like the actual martial around, and picked up some of those skills. But I think I was also like, kind of sick of being stuck on this like, relatively small, whatever, rock. And that's why I ended up getting assigned to Feynman Station. And I think my position there ties into my veteran status, which was like as a sentinel. So I did like a lot of reconnaissance, and that's how I just happened to be away from the station when the song hit. And I guess that sort of ties in a bit to, actually, yeah, my beliefs are interesting now I think about it. I have the belief of survival as a lottery. That's sort of like how I interpret it. Like I just happened to be not at the station when the song hit. So everything is random in that sense. My survival was random. But I think the way that like I've been processing the idea of like the song and the Tormenta, I think I might engage in a bit of like victim blaming. Like, if these people weren't so weak that they wouldn't have fallen to it in the first place. Yeah, something like that. We'll figure out how those two things can coexist.
Sounds good.
I know it's reprehensible, said Christo.
All right. Brilliant. So, this is the stage where in a face-to-face game, I would say, hey, who wants to start drawing a map? But due to the constraints, I just figure, here, have a map. It's in the chat. This is Warframe Yard. And we're going to create a few things about Warframe Yard. During the war, hundreds of vessels fell from the sky into the surface of dirt. This settlement was established in the midst of the rubble of the fallen warships. These boneyard settlements are centers of salvage, engineering, and industry. The inhabitants of Warframe Yard tried to build a stronger future from the wreckage of the war. So, there are 5 potential industries for Warframe Yard, and you get to pick 3 of them. The options are salvage, arms, metalwork, electronics, and data mining. So, do people have preferences?
You said salvage, arms, data mining, electronics, and what else?
Metalwork.
Metalwork.
And this is all on the second tab.
Well, of all those ships around, how can we not salvage?
Yeah, I'm thinking salvage.
1 salvage. Industry 2.
I think with salvage, metalwork sounds good.
All right. was the third.
Could also do data mining if we're scavenging. Or, I don't know.
Data mining would imply that we have lots of data to go through. I guess if the ship's sensors are intact, or we get an information from someplace else.
Mm.
I don't know enough about the scenario to know what's already been defined, if anything.
Oh, you get to define whatever you'd like.
Means it could be that we're trying to salvage data off of the salvage ships, and that's how data mining is, because we're trying to we're trying to recover all that information that has been lost.
Abby and Krista really are playing Hack the Planet again.
Well, that's right. If we don't put arms on the table, then I don't think we're going to be doing that. So this might be okay.
All right.
Have a better ending.
So we're going with data mining?
Why not? Give it a go.
Excellent. So we have 3 NPCs who come along for the ride. Normally, we would just generate these at the table, but in the interest of time. So, Farah the Tinkerer works in the salvage yard and believes that nothing is sacred. Aruna the Goliath works in metalwork and believes that the dead must be honored. And Sina the Runner works in the data mining center and believes that information wants to be free. So, before we get into a few more of these locations, I have a couple questions for you. Your settlement is partially built from salvaged warships which plunged from orbit. Which group or business fortified and moved into the hull of the FSS Defiant?
You said which business or what?
Group or business.
Sounds like something those Martians would do.
Is this a Mars Corp ship?
I guess it is now.
Well, whether it was originally or not, like if we had like a Martian, I mean, there were people from lots of different wow, sorry. Well, technical difficulties there. Like this is like a hodgepodge of people from different sources, not necessarily from like one vessel, right?
Right.
I don't know.
But
It just
there
seemed like
was a
something.
large
Okay,
Martian population, I take it, in the settlement.
possibly. Yeah. I don't know how other people feel about that.
I could totally see Mars Corp showing up and being like, "We're claiming salvage rights on the ship." Like, even if other people were already there, they're like, "Well, did you submit a declaration of salvage rights?" No. Well, we just did.
There's also a bit of, no, this is our ship. You can't get on our ship. You're not allowed. We have Marines.
Ruh-roh. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. The world is sharp and cold, but your community has worked hard to make things better. How does your community come together in warm camaraderie?
Is it the community or just our little group?
Community.
Maybe something to do with that tree? On the map?
Just saying, if your Prospero is sacrificing things to the tree, I will not complain.
So you're saying what makes us feel good? Is that the idea?
Yep. Effectively, what is the situation where everyone comes together? Is it a feast? Is it a concert? I recommend a concert. It's a great idea. You should have those all the time.
I was I was kind of thinking of putting out there, and I'm not sure if other people are into it. There's a strong hug culture. Like, people are really, like, physical contact is very welcomed,
Right.
even among casual acquaintances.
So we do big group
Yeah.
hugs? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not into being touched at all, and it's possible that's going to make me just kind of squig out. So
Okay, no, I was just like, hey, this is an idea that I was thinking of
that's
throwing
fair.
out there.
You were going for the whole bear hug thing. I get it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, also, who wouldn't want to just, like, hug a big fuzzy bear without having the threat of getting mauled?
That's fair. I mean, thrilling. But yes, so other options that are for folks at the table.
I do like the idea of the bear being touchy-feely, though, and like everyone's too scared to be hugged by the bear.
That is fair.
Just getting rejected all over the place.
But yeah,
we could do stars and wishes. Get around and say how cool we think each other is.
okay. So yeah, how else? Is there a particular activity that is a communal activity that everyone does together? Is there a sport? Is there there art?
Ooh, I like that communal art. Seems sort of decadent in a place like this, but maybe that's
communal LARPs. Oh my goodness.
I will totally allow you to do Nordic LARPs under the tree.
It sounds good for psychology purposes, right? Like, it's
Let's do that, because that gets rather meta, and I like that.
It's very cathartic to go out and bear all of your emotions like that in a safe way.
As long as it's around the tree, I'm on board.
Yeah, sounds good.
I mean, it could just be like, performances around the tree. It could be LARPing, could be some concerts. I don't know. Yeah.
All right. Warframe Yard is a dangerous place. What is the collective name of the orphans who run through the ruins after losing their parents in a salvage accident?
Oh.
Scraps?
Sounds good.
Excellent. So, there are 5 nearby settlements who you trade with. These are Barleymow, a farming community; Fort Bly, a military outpost; the Vermilion Exchange, a trading post; Daedalus Station, a research station; and Port Thoth, a spaceport. So, out of the 5 settlements, one of these settlements is on good terms with Warframe Yard. How did they help your community overcome hardship? So these are Barleymow, Fort Bly, Vermilion Exchange, Daedalus Station, and Port Thoth.
Sorry, is there anything predetermined about any of these communities?
That it's a farming community, military outpost, trading post, research station, and spaceport. That is it.
Okay, gotcha.
So in the actual book, there's 6 different settlement types. One of them is Boneyard, and these are the other 5.
Okay.
Well, as the Martian, I think it should be the trading post.
I mean, it makes sense if we're salvages. You know, like they probably helped us out. We can give us some sweet kickbacks on this ship we find.
So how did they help you specifically?
Well, if we get salvaged, we can trade things for something we really needed.
I think maybe they fronted us something that we needed interest free, knowing that like they didn't pull the normal trader crap of having us have to like pay them back for months on end for the thing that we needed right up front.
Wait, are they Martians? They can't be Martians if they did that. There's got to be some ulterior motive in there. We just didn't know what we paid them. We're just not in the know.
So
probably like it might have been a goodwill to like to get the choice to keep getting the choice trades.
So they gave your community a vaccine to let's say polio. There's all sorts. Herd immunity is effectively shot, and there's all sorts of communicable diseases because Terrans who've been living in a stew of diseases are dealing with Belters with weakened immune systems, and Martians who've been living in a sterilized environment, and aliens. So there's all sorts of terrible communicable diseases going on, and the Vermilion Exchange gave you a vaccine which saved your community. 2 other settlements effectively lost major portions of their populations due to disease. So they saved your lives. Yay, traders. One of the neighboring settlements is on bad terms with Warframe Yard. How have their actions or inaction insulted, frightened, or harmed your community?
I think it's got to be Daedalus Station.
Excellent. So how did they do so?
Are they messing around with Tormenta still?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, that might be it. We found out that they're still researching Tormenta.
Brilliant.
Is it just that they're researching it, or did like one of their subjects escape and like go on a rampage, like in our yard?
I think one of their subjects got out.
Yeah.
So if somebody's infected with one of these things, is the way to contain it to make it so they can't communicate? They can't sing or talk?
So the song is communicated orally. By contrast, Tormenta is more of a biological infection kind of thing.
Oh.
When they get their claws into you, so yeah. Functionally, assume that everyone has at least some level of infection. Anyone can be infected at almost any point in time. It's just that the severity ramps up in certain circumstances. So you have to assume that anyone could be infected right now.
With Tormenta or with the
either?
Okay.
Because, for instance, let's say that you were part of the Chorister fleet and then Tormenta went through and ripped through your mind and ripped away the song. You've got both of them latent in the back of your head. And that's a pretty commonplace experience. So yeah. Excellent. So, in terms of locations, what do people call the salvage yard?
Just to make a joke about our salvage yard being called Lies now, but I won't.
Is it all caps? So it's like we assume it's an acronym.
Oh yeah.
I like that.
A salvage yard is filled with lies.
What about metalwork?
Fine. Way to make me name it.
So, what is the metalwork section called? Is it is there an actual business that's doing the metalwork?
There's a part of me that wants to call it cake now.
Well, I think if Barry was in charge of naming it would probably be called Honey or Honeypot.
Ooh.
Now, fortunately,
if Barry is naming it.
oh God, I'm gonna type it in now.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So data mining.
So you're saying, what is the question? What do we call the center? Or what
Yep. Yeah. What's the business or location? What do people call the data mining place? Ooh, I like that. A mind palace.
Better than what Barry would have called it, which is bits to bits.
The gathering location. I think that's the tree. Oh, I know.
Does the tree have a name? If it's the only tree?
The Tree of Tears. Where do most people live? It's the LARP tree. Of course it's the Tree of Tears.
I never cry at LARPs. What are you talking about?
So where do most people live?
Well, so is that hulk of a ship a place we could live?
Totally. The Burrows.
We're saying Mars Corp had taken it over.
Oh, Mars Corp took over the Defiant.
Okay, yeah. So if that's the Defiant, then that's taken over.
Well, they could be charging everyone rent.
Wait, where are the burrows?
Underground, I assume.
Well, then we have a much bigger place to live than we had before, than just on this map, right? We just need an entrance to the burrows.
Yeah, that works. It's likely almost a bit more like World War II bunkers. So where you see these sort of warehouse, like colony places in the bottom lower left, close to the tree. Yeah, so it's underneath there. That's actually like 3 stories down.
Like the dome's the entrance to it?
Yep.
I think we also got some tents down there in the really lower left-hand corner. Maybe that's where the scraps hang out. I don't know.
They could be greenhouses. They could be, what do we call those things?
Oh.
Yeah, it could be a lot of stuff, like
Cold frames or whatnot.
True.
And the dangerous location. Let's just call it the swamps. Because those swamps are looking dangerous.
Is that the yellow stuff at the
Yep.
Okay. With a barbed wire fence? Yeah.
the septic pool. I bet you it looks like we tried to dig a septic tank and it leaked right there.
But so this isn't a problem that we live underground, right?
No. Oh, fantastic. Well, I think we now have a good sense of your community, Warframe Yard, the people who live there, and you find folks who this time next week we will be seeing how these people live in Warframe Yard and the dangers they face. Are there any last questions before I let you fine folks go? Excellent.
What do we eat? I guess is my one last question.
Ooh, good question.
It varies. There's a variety of agricultural things that have been imported into the planet. One of the staple crops is actually something called Permancer Bounty. It's a genetically engineered grain that is it grows so thick that Belter children take bets on each other on who can run across the surface of the grain. Because it's super dense, black grain that is very nutrient rich. There's some high level genetic engineering going on there. But it's so easy to grow and so nutritious that it's a staple crop. There's also a lot of Belter shrooms that are a common element of most people's diets. Don't ask where Belter Brown shroom comes from. Just don't. And yeah, and then there's a variety of other things. Most of the local life forms are bugs. So that doesn't stop people from eating them. It just makes the Terrans get a little squeamish. Anyways, if that works for everyone, thank you very much, and I will see you fine folks next week.
I can't wait. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait to
Thank
laugh
you.
with everyone in our scrapyard.
Lies.
All right, see you next time.
See you next time.
Thanks. Good night.